Are we on? Nachman, we're on?
Yeah.
Huh?
It's a bad thing. Okay. I don't have that.
Okay. Good morning. We're holding today's Daf Chav Ches, Daf Koyach, or Daf Chav Zayin and Beis on the bottom of Rav Yehuda. Omer Rav Yehuda Mishum Rabbi Yitzchak ben Pinchas. Ein shchita la'oif min ha-Torah. There's no such thing. We don't see in the Torah the concept of shchita by a bird. Now, watch this. All the people that are just trickling in are going to miss this major yesod. When you read these words, as is, ein shchita la'oif min ha-Torah, what does that mean to you? So what if I take a gun?
You don't have to shech the bird, you could just eat it.
Okay, so what do I, right, so I can chop off its head, I can shoot it, I could, no, so that's not the pshat. The pshat is that you don't have to shecht it with a knife and go back and forth, but I still have to cut it simanim.
Okay.
We have to know that. It's a major thing, because when you're just reading it, it seems like ein shchita min ha-Torah. Okay, it's very important. You have to kill it through its simanim. Shenemar v'shofach v'shvicha ba'alma sagi. So here we have the pasuk. It says v'ish asher yotzud. V'ish, it's a whole thing. Asher yotzud seid chaya oy oif, either a chaya or a bird. Asher ye'ochel v'shofach. But the word v'shofach means to spill. It doesn't mean anything to do with shchita. It's dama v'chisa ba'ofer. So from the word v'shofach, and we're going to get back to it in a second, means even through spilling its blood and not shechting it. So now the Gemara's question is very obvious because we have this piece of paper here. Because in the pasuk it also says chaya. So if it says chaya and it says v'shofach, so certainly, just like you said by oif, you don't need shchita, so you don't need shchita by a chaya. Says the Gemara, itgash l'psula mikdashim. A chaya, as we're going to see later on, it says, kasher tzvi v'ayol, there's a hekesh between a tzvi, which is a chaya, to psuli ha-mukdashim, meaning a carbon that you can no longer eat because you can't shecht it because it has a mum, so you paid it, and then you could shecht it and eat it. It says, v'zavachta b'mkarcha. So we make a hekesh between a behema and a chaya. So we know that a chaya needs shchita. So this chaya needs shchita. It says v'shofach, so we'll say the v'shofach goes in the oif. Okay. Oif nami itkash lebehema. We learned yesterday the hekesh between a bird and a behema. Yet yesterday we learned that a bird, how do you know where you shecht it? You learn, how do you know where you shecht the behema? You shecht the behema in its neck from a bird from this hekesh. Says Rashi, if I already used the hekesh, how could I learn another thing? Because in hekesh lemechza. In other words, you learn everything. You just keep on going. But since you see that there's a hekesh between a bird and a behema, so mela a bird should also need shchita. Says the Gemara, what am I going to do with this word right over here? V'shofach says you don't do shchita. So why? Okay, so we have a problem. On the one hand, it says we have a hekesh that you have to do shchita on a bird. On the other hand, it says in the pasuk v'shofach. So I'll say that v'shofach goes on a bird, and not on a chaya. Why not? Says the Gemara, because if you look at the pasuk, what's closer, a chaya or oif to the word v'shofach? Oif is closer to v'shofach, and therefore v'shofach tells us, according to Rabbi Yitzchak ben Pinchas, that a bird does not require shchita, meaning you don't have to take a knife and do halacha v'ayva, but you have to get to its simanim and kill it like that. Meisvei. So now the Gemara is going to ask three kashas. Number one, hashoiched v'nisnabla b'yodai. If you shecht a bird and it became a nevela, meaning you had no intent to make it a nevela. You wanted to shecht it normally, but you ruined it during your shechita. You did shihiyah, drasa, whatever you did, you made it a nevela. Hanoicher v'ma'aker. Noicher means you cut the simanim like this way, nechira, from like the chin down, not sideways. V'ma'aker, and you uproot the simanim. So what happens? This animal becomes an avela and potter melachasos. It says in the pasuk, in this pasuk that we just saw, it says asher yei ochel. It has to be. This is afterwards. I realized I missed it. Underlined it by hand. Sorry. Asher yei ochel has to be something that that's edible. But if you do nechira to a bird, it's not edible. If you make an avela, it's not edible, and therefore it's not v'chisa ba'afar. You don't have to do kisui. You don't have to do kisui adam. Right? What are the two things that you have to do kisui adam to? Chayo and oif. It's right here in this pasuk. Not a behema. So, as the Gemara, according to Rabbi Yitzchak ben Pinchas, that is no shchita to a bird. In other words, like we explained, yes, you don't have to do shchita, but you have to cut it simanim somehow. So you just cut the simanim with nechira, and you just cut it simanim with ikur. That's perfect. That allows you to eat it. So it's no longer an avela. If it's not an avela, the pasuk says oif, you have to do kisui adam. If you say you have to do shchita to a bird, and you messed up the shchita because it became an avela, you did ikur instead of shchita, I understand. This bird, you don't have to do kisui adam. But if you hold, you don't have to do shchita, all you have to do is cut it simanim. So you cut it simanim, it's perfect. You did nechira, you did ikur, that's the way to kill the bird, and you should be chayiv b'kisui adam.
Where is there any limitation for kisui adam? Anytime you kill a bird, no matter how you kill it, it sounds like from the pasuk that you do.
No, asher yochel. Yei ochel. You have to be able to eat it. And only a kosher bird, but it has to be a kosher bird that's edible. As we're going to see, mamish in a line or two. Liboy kisui, says the Gemara. So now, on all these kashas that the Gemara asks, the Gemara just pushes it off. In other words, it's not a big raya from here, because I could always say, misavers ba'if, loy b'chaya. This whole thing that says, hashoichev and isnabel b'yadoy, is talking about a chaya. You were shechting a deer, and it became an avela. You're potter from kisui adam. But in a chanami, if you do nechira and akira to a bird, it doesn't say anywhere here that you don't have to do kisui adam. The ptur of kisui adam is only on an animal that you did nechira and akira. Toshma, hashoiche b'tzorch l'dam chayav l'chasos. Somebody that needs blood. He needs blood of a bird. What does he need it for? The Gemara is going to say, against moths. They didn't have mothballs in those days. He uses a little blood from a bird, chases the moths away. I need the blood. Now, what's the problem? If I do kisui adam, I sprinkle dirt or whatever, I sprinkle on it, sawdust like they use today, I ruin my blood. The moths are not going to run away. So what do you do?
Maybe the moths are going to go away, the flies are going to come.
Okay,
Maybe the
moths
are going to go away. You got a lot of flies.
You know who else is going to run away? People's wives will. Imagine you put in your closet blood. Okay. So we have an eitzah. If you dafka need blood and you care so much about the blood and you don't want to do kisui adam, so what do, Avi? You just do nechir and akira, and then the bird is not edible, and memeli you potter from kisui adam. My love, ba'oif. We're talking about a bird. Daf chavches samad alef. Says Rashi, very interesting. It says, he brings a pasuk, kebeged acholei osh. In today in English and even in Hebrew they say ash, the ash moth. I don't know if you're familiar. I have these. Unfortunately, this year we got hit with these little moths, the pantry moths. They're ash moths. The worst thing in the world. Could never get rid of them. They're in Best, or I didn't say that. They're in some stores. They fly around, these little tiny moths, but they go into food, into bags. So you think that you have a sealed bag, but they poke a little hole and they lay their eggs in there, and it's game over. It's almost impossible to get rid of them. There's almost no trap. There's a trap for the males, but not kitzer. It's a terrible thing. So what did they do in those days? Rashi is referring to the cloth, what is it called? The cloth moth, the regular moth that eat clothes. Also a very big makkah. It's very hard to get rid of them. So they would use the blood of a bird. So the Gemara, again, if you want to bring me a raya from here, there's no big raya, because I could always say it's not talking about the blood of a bird. Loi b'chaya. This individual wanted blood from a chaya, And the kaboyle lidmei lelako. Why did he need blood of a chaya? He needed blood of a chaya because he wanted to dye his clothing red, and he didn't want to ruin the blood, his dye, with whatever he covers the blood with. So the blood was more important to him than the actual meat. So he did nechira.
He shechted animal.
Exactly, but he didn't shecht it, because if he shechted it, then it would be chayav b'kisi adam. So what he did was, he did a trick. He did a nechira. He just cut the simanim this way. So now he has blood, and he doesn't need to do kisei.
Down is not done on all the blood, it's just on some of the blood, right?
Right, you do on the top.
What does the kid do?
But I'm saying, let's say that whatever reason is, he has a factory of blood. He needs blood for whatever reason. This is what he does. He doesn't want to cover it. He's going to do a cover on all the top layers. Then he's going to have to sit there for half an hour scraping off the top, and then some of the parts are going to get to the bottom, and they're going to tell him it's not a pure product. He doesn't want that. He wants pure blood. What does he do? Nechira.
He just killed PIG.
Oh, you mean for blood? Yeah, okay. But then it wouldn't be kosher. It wouldn't be badatz. It would be clothing that are done. Shalei behechsher abadatz.
The moths might not do that.
Well, moths seems like they run away from chicken or bird blood. Doesn't say anything about regular blood. Tashma. Molag besakin. These are brises that we already had. Molag besakin. He took a knife and he did malika, meaning he pushed through the back of the neck of the bird instead of with his nail. His nail was weak, so he decided he's going to use an instrument. So he used a knife. He didn't go back and forth like shechita. He did a malika. He pushed it through. So what did he do here? He messed up. He made it into a treifa. Mitama begodim. I'm sorry, he made it into nevela. Mitama begodim abeis habliya. So it's so tummy, this bird, that if an individual eats from this bird, it becomes tamei. He becomes tamei if he just swallows it. What are you telling me? According to Rabbi Yitzchak ben Pinchas, you don't have to shech the bird minat Torah. So what did he do? He put this knife right through the neck of the bird, and he caused it to be a treifa. Tahanilo, thank you. Tahanilo sakin l'tayir b'nei nevelo. But at the end of the day, so it goes like this. If you remember, we just learned, it's about a week ago, we learned that putting a knife through the back of the neck could be a problem of drisa. You're pushing. Malika is betzim drisa. So by putting a downward force on the neck, you're doing drisa, that's why it's treif. Or, we said it's chalada. Because if you go through the spine of a bird, it buries the knife. We said the mirvach ravach, it opens up, but because there's a spine, it keeps the knife closed. And the other mandana will say, no, I could see the knife still. Immediately he has to come on to drisa. Fine. So let's say that you were over on drisa, you're over on chalada. But at the end of the day, once I passed that stage, I did an ikur. I did a nechira. I punctured the simanim. You say that you don't need shchita minat Torah. What do I need to do? I need to just cut the simanim any way I want. Okay, so you cut the simanim. What's the problem? So what? Because a millisecond before you cut the simanim, you were over on drisa. That should puzzle this animal. That should make this animal nevela. The whole nichur, the whole chopping the simanim this way is also nevela. But that's the way you kill an animal, according to Rabbi Yitzchak ben Pinchas. That's how you kill a bird. There's no need in shechita. So who cares? As the Gemara, at the end of the day, it shouldn't be nevela. Says the Gemara, you're right. This brisa would be a stira to Rabbi Yitzchak ben Pinchas. However, but he has a source like him. The Sanyo, Rebbe Lazar Kapper Beribi Oimer. Rebbe Lazar Kapper, who is the Golador, says Rashi. Beribi means Golador. Matam Eloimer Ach Kasher Yochel Esatzvi. So, if you just read the pasuk says Ach Kasher Yochel Esatzvi. Just like you eat a deer and ayol. So l'chayra, it should be that we're trying to learn something out of the deer. Says the Gemara, no, it's the reverse. We're learning deer out of this pasuk. It seems like it comes to teach us something, but it's actually learning something. The pasuk right before is discussing psulei hamikdashim. If you have a carbon that it befell a mum, it has a mum, so now what do? You redeem that carbon and you eat it for yourself. So it says the Gemara, we learn a hekesh, ma psulei hamikdashim b'shchita, av tzvi v'ayil b'shchita. The pasuk, ach kasher yachal, is telling us that you shecht a deer. And then he finishes off, Rebbe Lazar beribi hakapor. Rebbe Lazar, the Galadar says, "Va'oif ein lo yishchita midivrei Torah el midivrei sofrim." That the pasuk is going to tell us that only a deer has shchita like an animal, and not a bird. So no. So Yisrael ben Pinchas has somebody to rely on. Has another shita. The Galadar also says like him that a bird doesn't have shchita minat Torah. Mantano, the Poligale, the Rebbe Lazar hakapor. Who's the Tana that's mechulak? Rebbe, there's interesting Rashi here, he says something else a little bit. But who's the Tana that says that there is shchita for a bird min HaTorah? Rebbe. The Sanyo Rebbe Omer. V'zavachto ka'asher tzivi sicha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu, I want you to do shchita just like I showed you. Just like I commanded you. But where in the Torah did HaKadosh Baruch Hu command him? He didn't command him. So we have to say, Milamid shenitztava Moshe, ala veshet, v'ala kona. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, this is how you shecht. He told him about peh. You shecht with the veshet and the kona, two simonim. V'al roi v'echad ba'oif. And all you need is one roiv, one siman by a bird. V'al roiv shnayim b'beima, two simonim by a behema. So Tosfos says, and I was a little bored this morning, so I did it. Tosfos says that the word kasher tzivi sicha, says Tosfos, you learn, this is Tosfos, this is not like Chassidus Torah. It says, the Aleph says, echadoif, that bird is one siman, shin is shnayim behema, and reish is roiv shnayim, you need both, roiv of both by the behema, and then Tosfos says that the word kasher is if you read it backwards, is rubai shalechot kamayu, that the roiv of one is like the whole, like as if you shechted the entire thing. So just from the word kasher tzivisicha, says Tosfos, echad ba'oif shnayim behema roiv shnayim, and the whole word in itself is roiv shalechot kamayu. Says the Gemara. Echad ba'oif. Rav Nachman Omar. Now we took it for granted. Every time we learned that you could shecht one siman, we never discussed which one of the two simanim. So we took it for granted that it means either or. It doesn't matter if you shecht the kana, it doesn't matter if you shecht the veshet. What's the difference between a kana and a veshet halachically? We saw that the veshet is much more sensitive. If you have the smallest hole in the veshet, it renders the animal treif. Whereas the kana, even if 50% of the kana is cut before the shechita, the animal's not treif. All you need to do is cut it a little bit, and then it's as if you cut the whole thing, and the animal is kosher. Says the Gemara, by a bird, all you have to shecht is one or the other, either the kana or the veshet. No, it's not true. When it says that you shecht one siman, it means the esophagus, the veshet, not the trachea, not the windpipe.
No.
Yeah, the veshet is the sensitive one, so therefore that's the one that you have to get rid of. The veshet. The kana is the windpipe.
The windpipe can't have.
The windpipe could have 50%. It could still live. It's not considered a treifa if 50% of the windpipe is cut. The esophagus, and I forgot, maybe Hill explained to me, the esophagus, because of it leaks. The even a small hole. Yeah. The what did you say? The
body cavity. It goes into the body cavity.
No, the acids of the body, they go in and they'll kill the animal right away. That's what somebody explained. I thought it was you. All right, fine. Rav Nachman Omar oy veshed oy kana. Why? Echad katani. In the Mishnah, when it says all you have to do is echad, you only have to shecht one. It doesn't say which one or the other. Echad kol do. Rav Ada Ba'ava Omar veshed oy kana. My echad miyuchad. So Rav Adar Brahava says, no, when the Mishnah says echod, you have to shecht one, it means the one, Hashem echad, one. The miyuchad, the more important one out of the two, simanim, which is the veshet, the more sensitive one. So now the Gemara is going to bring rayas this way and the other way, a bunch of rayas. Meisvei. Shochad es haveshet, what? Shochad es haveshet, v'achkach nishmeta hagargeres, we had this price as well. What happens if you're shechting the veshet? Now here's the Gemara's raya. The whole emphasis here is on the veshet. There's no mention throughout this whole brisa, 3 cases of anything to do with the trachea, with the kana. It's all somebody shechted the veshet, and then he noticed v'achkach nishmeta hagargeres, and after he shechted the veshet, all of a sudden the windpipe pops out. It's 100% kosher. Why is it kosher? Because he shechted one siman. That's all you need. Nishmita hagageres, but if before he started the windpipe, the kana popped out, because now he's shechting a treif animal. If the whole entire kana popped out, obviously this animal is treif, says Rashi. What if he shechted the trachea, the veshet, and then he noticed, and he has no idea when it happened, that the kana was dislodged? They said this is we had in the beginning of Masechta, maybe Daf Yomi, that any psul by shchita is possible. I think we said over there that it's like the animal has a chazaka, it started possible, remains possible, fine. Now, there's no mention if a person shechted the kana and then he found that the gargeres is dislodged. There's no mention of a veshet that's dislodged. Says the Gemara, very simple, because we're talking very practically. Mishum the gargeres avidi l'shtamute. The way the kana is built, it's like a plug. It plugs in and you could unplug it. Mashenkin the veshet, it doesn't really become dislodged. It's not something that happened, so it wasn't discussed.
The gargeres is the kana?
Yeah, gargeres is kana. Tashma. Shochat shnei chatzoi simonim ba'if. If a person shechted 2 halves of 2 simonim, 2 halves don't equal 1 whole, right? 50% of the kana, 50% of the veshet is not a shchita. If you shecht 51% of the kana, so you did roiv of 1, that's fine. But just because you shechted 2 halves doesn't make it 1 whole. Psula, and certainly a behema that you need to shech both simanim. Of course, if you only do 50% of both simanim, it's not enough. Rabbi Yehuda Omer be'oif achi yishchoy deshaveshet v'savridim. So Rabbi Yehuda says by a bird, since as we're going to see, you have to, a bird could be roasted, right? They don't really have it here so much in Israel, but in America, the roasted birds. You take you go to Chapana, whatever, you go to the store.
Has a big rotisserie on Chova.
Okay, so there's one store in Yerushalayim, somewhere in Chova Gripas. I'm saying.
And at best they have it. You walk into best, they have.
They do?
They have the thing. Yeah, right?
Supermarkets have
Yeah.
Supermarkets do have. Okay.
Best has it.
Kids, so you take a whole chicken,
I mean, you gotta,
and it goes around in a circle, and it.
Gotta look
But what about all the blood? What about all the blood in it? You don't really do this to a large animal. A large animal you cut up to pieces so you get rid of the blood. You do some little malicha, fine. But over here with the bird, what do? So because a bird has a lot of blood in it, because you roast it, so Rabbi Yehuda says, make sure when you're doing the shechita, cut the vridim. That's what we had yesterday in the Mishnah. You cut the veins, all the blood pours out, and then you can roast it. Now, but look at what he says. Rabbi Yehuda Omer be'oif achi yishchod es haveshet. He says mefurish the veshet, meaning and not the kana. This is a raya to who? To Rav Nachman, not Rav Nachman, to Rav Adar Bahavo, that says veshet v'loy kana. The only way you can shecht is through the veshet and not the kana. Says the Gemara, Mishum the veshet samach lavridim. If you look at the picture, 2 pictures. Here is the veshet, as it says, veshet, and later on is the kana. The trachea is up here. So when you're cutting the blue, you're next to the veshet. That's what he's saying. How do you get to the blue? By cutting the veshet, you get to the blue. By cutting the trachea, you'd still have to go through the trachea and the veshet to get to the blue, to the vridin. And here's another side view, if you want to see. Where is it? Right over here. This is the kana. This is the veshet. 1, 2, and look at this guy right over here. This is the vridin.
That's the view from the top.
After you do the shchita, cross section, you open it up, you see the vrid. 2 vridim, 1, 2, and here is the veshet. So that's why Rabbi Yehuda mentions veshet together with the vridim because they're next to each other.
So Yehuda, the Chullin with the kappa, who says the whole thing's only the Rabbanon, and Dam is
Not necessarily. No, because you don't want blood in your chicken.
right.
Either that's what we said. Even if you say ain't shchita min haTorah, you still have to kill it through the simanim. And he says, but in addition to just killing it, you have to get the vrid. I don't care how, through shchita or through nechira, but you have to get all of them. I'm saying not necessarily that he gets involved in that. Says the Gemara, Toshma, Shochat Chatzi Gargeres, he shechted a half a gargeres. Now, we said, if a person shechts a half a kana, he doesn't make the animal treif, because an animal could live with 50% of his kana. Once you get to 51%, that's it, it's a treif. So what does this guy do? He's playing around. He said, let me try it out. He shechts a half a kana, Visha, Kedei Shchita Acheres. He waited a couple seconds, as long as it takes to do a shchita, ugmara, and then he finished it off. Shchita soy ksheira. So over here, l'chayr it says mefurish, if I shecht 51% of a kana, it's a good shchita. So you see that when the Mishnah says I could shecht 1 siman, it means even the kana. My lav ba'if, aren't we talking about a bird? My gemara, what does it mean that he finished it off? Gemara legargeres, that he finished off the kana? Lie. If I want to, I could push it off and I could say behema, even a behema. It's not talking about only a bird, it's talking about even an animal. My gemara l'shchita kula. It doesn't mean he finished off the kana. It means, let's say he took a cow, he shechted 50% of the cow's kana. He waited a couple seconds just to see if he can, and then he continued the kana, and then he finished it off with cutting into the veshet. And it's a kosher shchita because when he sliced into the kana, he didn't render the animal a treifa, because an animal could live with a slit kana as long as it's not more than 50%. That's all it's saying here. We're talking about a behemoth, not a bird. Don't bring me a raya that you could shecht 1 siman in a bird.
So this concept of waiting
Yeah.
has gone out the window, because if he stops at 50%, he can stop.
Right.
At 51%, he's done. He's finished the shchita.
Correct.
So that 1%.
The 1%, but the point is he waited even kedei shchita. You could wait 7 days too, and then finish it off, and it's kosher.
So when are you over share?
Oh, you're asking shia. What about in the veshet?
No,
In a oif, shia in a oif. So maybe I don't know. I guess when you're shechting just the veshet, maybe. Good fellow. We'll ask the shochet when we see him by the presentation. Remember that one. Toshma harei shehoyo chatzi kone pogum v'hoisevel kol shu gemara. Here's the halacha, more specific. You have the trachea, you have the kana, and it has a hole in it. It's pogum. It's not treif yet. And he comes along v'hoisevel kol shu gemara, and he added just a little bit, and he made it 51% shchita sikshera. My love ba'oif. It's a right to us that all you have to shecht is the kana. Umay gemara la kana, and he finished off. He did 51% of the kana. Loi bebehema. It's dafka over here. You have to say it's dafka behema. Umay gemara la veshet. He finished off the veshet. Toshma. Keita mokim chatasoif. There's a difference how you do malika to a chatas bird and an oiler bird. How do you do a chatas bird? Choytach shidra umafrekes below roiv basar. We had that. So you remember we learned shma mina. Or whoever it was, he waited. Rabbi Yirmiyah or somebody. He asked the kasha, and he waited. He waited like a few minutes, and he came up with the chap. He said, "Oh, it comes out that when you do malika, you can't cut the muscle and the meat around the kana and the veshet. You have to go in. Ad shemagia la veshet oy la kana." Over here it says, either or, this is the main raya. Higia laveshet oila kana choitech simin echad v'roi basar. He shechs one simin, and then he goes afterwards. He does roiv basar. But here's the raya. It says mefurish oila kana oila veshet. Higia laveshet oila kana. You could be mekayim shchita with just the kana, and that would be a kasher of Nachman. Yeah, roiv of one. When it says one simin, it means either or. It doesn't. It's not. We're not specific to the veshed. It's either or. Uba oila hari shachta oila oy roiv shnayim tiyufta der Rav Adar Bahava. It's a kasher of Rav Adar Bahava who says that it has to be dafka the veshed tiyufta. My havela. So lemaisa, what's the end of the sugya? My havela k'dekamers. He just said tiyufta. You just brought a bomb kasher on Rav Adar Bahava that it could be either or. Says Gemara. Dilmo shani hosam dika shidra umafrekes. Maybe by Malika it's different because he already killed the animal 90% by going through its spinal cord. So then all he needs to do is get a little bit of the kana. Based on the Teres Chaim that we said yesterday, Mamish makes a lot of sense. The Jew has to do the Yitzias Neshama and not let the Malach Mavas do it. So he did it. He killed it. I don't care how. He killed it by going through the mafrekes and the shidra, and that's it. Tashma. Daru bar Avzo. The Havabe Rava, there was a goose that came to Rava's Beis Medrash. Also came in Masmis Koye Doma. It came to Rava when it had like blood. Now, if you remember my story, when I lived in Bnei Brak, I lived in Bnei Brak for 3 years, and my father woke me up in the middle of the night. You remember the story?
I know the story.
Oh yeah.
Everybody knows the story, so we don't have to say it. Right there.
I need the number of the story.
All right. So I'll say it quickly.
Section.
This might be a story they could write, Nachman. You don't know the story.
I think you told me.
It wasn't okay. Was that I said it?
Like,
My father, he woke me up because he said that a bird that falls off a truck could fall down Amos and it become a traver from falling. So you have to wake up. We have to see the birds, check each chicken if it could run. So he wakes me up 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm 10 years old. And we go in the dark streets of Bnei Brak. We go to the Shlachtos in Bnei Brak, on Rechov Kahanaman. It's not there, probably. It's right across the street from Coca-Cola. We go there, and he asks Rishus, "Can I check these chickens to see?" Okay, another Bnei Braki Chazanishnik, fine. He takes them out, and as he takes them, puts them on the floor. They plop down, and they just go to sleep. He says, "You see the treifas? They're all treifas." Because he had this one Cheverman chicken that jumped up and started running around the whole place, and he's chasing him through the shleichtim, and people are trying to get. He says, "Oh, this is kosher." And finally, he got a bunch of chickens. He had like a box or 2 of these chickens, and he says, "These are my chickens." And we're watching the shleichtim, and we're following. Okay, I think that one goes through the line, and we got a little mixed up. These are our chickens. He takes the 10 chickens home, and he gets home, and he sees that on one of the chickens there's a black and blue mark. Doesn't know. This is the first time he's doing it. Has a black and blue marks. He says, "Listen, take this chicken, go to Reb Nisim Karelitz, ask him what the halach is." So he takes like one of these little bags. He puts the chicken upside down, and those feet that I was telling you about, those ugly feet that have scales sticking out from the top. And I go down the stairs, and as I go down the stairs, he screams to me. He says, "And ask him if it's oif shahira by chacham." It's like, what? So you just repeat. So I'm walking down Bnei Brak, I'm like saying these words I shouldn't mess up. And these feet, people are looking at me, feet sticking out of the bag. It's 120 degrees. Kids, it takes me an hour to find them, and I'm asking, where's Rav Nisim? I get there, and Rav Nisim looks at it, he goes, it's from the machine, it happened after he died. So I say, Arav, is this Chacham Shahir Bayayf? So, the kids are... He laughed. He said, "Tell your fathers for Seder." Could be I added that part afterwards. Toshma Bar Avzo. This duck.
Can we number your stories?
Now they're gonna come. Now we're gonna start recycling the stories.
great stories, there's no point.
Bar Avzo the Havabe Ravo. Also, Kimi Masmis Koyedom. I only lived in Bnei for 3 years, but it left a big reishim on me. So a guy brings a goose. I can mamish relate to this guy. Brings a goose to Rava. The Gol Adar, Rava, what do I do with this goose? And he has on his neck, he has this blood. And he's still alive, the goose. Oh my Rava, what do we do with this goose? If we shecht it right now, it's not going to help us. We can't check it after it dies. Maybe the blood that's coming out of its neck, it has like a wound somewhere, and then the knife went directly into that wound, and you'll never see it. You'll think that there's no wound, but there was a wound. Nivde gave a hadin in shchatei. This is interesting. Somehow I could shecht it while it's still alive, from like I don't know how. Maraba with the ultrasound. The ultrasound wouldn't work because of this teretz. Maraba veshet en libdiko mibachutz el mifnim. If I take the veshet and I look at it, it doesn't. You can't check a veshet. A veshet is red from the outside. The only way to check it is if I flip it inside out. You take it. It's like a sock. You take a sock and you can go inside out. Now I have the white part and I see if there's any red on the white. I know that there's a puncture wound. Now try to do that to a live goose. Try to flip his veshet inside out when he's alive. It's going to be a big treifa. So Rabbi Yosef tells his son, Ravo, I have a great idea. Shecht, one siman, the kana, that's okay. Even if, let's say the blood came out of the kana, that's not a problem, because it's allowed to have a little wound. So you shecht the kana. We'll check right now to make sure that's not a roiv. Shecht the kana. So, stop right here. What do you see? I could shecht the kana and I got a shchita. And he says, okay, and then afterwards, once it's dead, you didn't touch the veshet, and you'll open up the goose, and you'll see if the veshet was damaged or not. Like upon him, you see from here that you could check just the kana. What? Shech the kana. And that's enough. It's a raya that when the Mishnah says one siman, it means even the kana. So to finish off the story, Omerava, Chakim Yosef Beri, Betrevois, my son Yosef is a genius when it comes to Trevois. Kirebi Yochanan, like the Gemara is going to say, Rashi says two pshatim, but the one pshat, Rabbi Yochanan later on the Gemara says that Shmuel sent him 13 camels worth of treifas, because he was the expert in treifas. So my son is as chashav as Rabbi Yochanan in treifas. The other pshat is my son is as chashav as Rabbi Yochanan is in the whole Torah. That's how good my son is when it comes to treifas. Alma echad dika amar oy hai. It's like a Rav Nachman, not like a Rav Adarav.
First example of
Rabbi Yehuda Omer ad sheyishchoit. Omer Rav Chizl Omer Rabbi Yehuda ela ba'oif. So this thing, it says in the Mishnah, doesn't say oif. We had the brisa before that says ba'oif. But the Mishnah just says you have to, the Mishnah brings oif and a behema, and the Mishnah says, make sure, Rabbi Yehuda says, make sure you get the vridim. Like I explained before, since you roast it, you have to get rid of all the blood. Since it goes piece by piece, there's no need to get the vrid. The time of the Rabbi Yehuda mishum damu. So you're telling me that it's a practical way how to drain the blood. It's not part of the shechita. I need to get rid of all the blood, so puncture the vein. Don't shech the vein. It says he has to do a ma'aseh shechita back and forth with a knife. Says Gemara, no, what he meant to say is puncture it. So why did it say in the lashon of shechita? Do it immediately by shechita, like the Gemara is going to explain in a second, because you want to get it when the blood is still warm. You don't want to wait 5 minutes and then puncture it and try to drain it. Tashma, we're trying to bring a raya, did Rabbi Yehuda mean dafka by a bird, or did it mean also by an animal you should get the jugular veins? Vridim b'shchita, did Rabbi Yehuda? It says you should do b'shchita. Ema vridim tzarich lenakim b'shas shchita. Did Rabbi Yehuda, again the same teretz, it means no, maybe just a puncture wound. Tashma, they told Rabbi Yehuda, since you only need the veins just to get rid of the blood, why do you need shchita? So in other words, when they asked him this question, you see from the question that it was very important to do shchita to these veins. Miklad, Rabbi Yehuda saw b'shchita. The question wasn't, why are you doing shchita? The question is, why are you puncturing it during shchita? Why can't you wait 5 minutes and do it later? The blood is warm. The blood won't come out as well because it already congeals. It starts congealing. It's not good. But Rabbi Yirmiyah didn't hear about this whole Rav Chizda business, that it's talking about a bird, not talking about a bird. It's shchita, not shchita. Vridim le Rabbi Yehuda shah behem doras b'mau. When you shech the vridim, since he uses the lashon shchita, so maybe you have the psulim of shchita, just like b'shchita, drisa, shehiyah ruins the shchita. So maybe when you're shechting the vridim, also the shihiyah and the drisa passes them just like a regular shechita. You don't need shechita. Just puncture them with a thorn. Now, many times we have a brisa that says the exact same thing as the Mishnah word for word. Just the brisa adds one little word and that explains everything. What does it say in the brisa? Shochat shnei chatzoi simonim be'oif pasul vein tzarich le'reim behema. If he shechs two halves of two simonim, it's not a good shechita, and certainly by behema they need roiv of two simon. Be'oif, and here's the key word, the extra here, be'oif, that the whole halacha that Rabbi Yehuda said of vridim is be'oif. If you go to our Mishnah, he doesn't say the word be'oif. He says those exact words minus the word oif. So you see from here, just like Rav Chisda, that his halacha only applies to bird. Why? Because you roast it and you want to get rid of all the blood.
What happens to kisei adam in this case? You don't cut the breeding. How do you do kisei adam?
What do you mean, how do you have blood b'chlal? You're asking a technical thing, how do you have blood? You have a little blood, you don't have all the blood. You mean to the blood inside?
You just do, let's say you just cut the corner, how you wears the dam.
You're going to have blood from just the corner. Why not?
I don't know.
Yeah, you're gonna have plenty of blood. There's a lot of, if you look over here, there's a lot of different, this might not be such a good, but you have different blood vessels everywhere that create blood. There's other blood. Zog the Gemara. This is a big sugya. We're going to continue tomorrow, but let's start it. Chatzi echad ba'oif. Itma Rav Omar mechza mechza kurov. So here's this a shaila, and the Gemara says this shaila is only over here, not in the whole shas. But that's cheating. That's telling you. We understand from the beginning this is shaila in all shas. Is 50% considered 51%? Rav Kahana Omar Rav Omar mechza mechza kurov. 50% is considered 51%. Rav Kahana Omar mechza mechza ene kurov. No, you need 51% to have 51%. Rav Omar mechza mechza kurov. V'chom Ali Rachman Al Moshe. What did the Kosh Baruch tell Moshe Rabbeinu? Lo tishayir ruba. Don't leave over roiv. Rav Kahana Omar mechza mechza ene kurov. V'chom Ali Rachman Al Moshe shchoit ruba. The question is what Kosh Baruch told Moshe Rabbeinu. Did Kosh Baruch tell Moshe Rabbeinu, I want you to shecht 51%? Or did Kosh Baruch tell Moshe Rabbeinu, don't leave over unshechted 51%? In other words, 50% is enough. So when the Mishnah says you have to shecht roiv siman, according to the first sheet, according to Rav, it means 50%, not literally roiv. 50% is like 51%.
Which pasuk does this refer to?
There's no pasuk, like we said before.
Is this general?
Kasher tzivisicha. Remember, kasher tzivisicha. Like I commanded you, bal peh. So since it's bal peh, I could argue what HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him.
Who recorded this conversation?
Moshe Rabbeinu said it over afterwards. That's halacha Moshe Sinai. All halacha Moshe Sinai. Tanan, chatzi echad ba'oif. You did half 50% of a bird. We said it's possible. Why in the world is it possible? I did 50%, and 50% is like 51%. I might puzzle heavily roiv. Says the Gemara Midrabanan. You're right. Midraisa. It's a good shchita. What's the nafkamina if it's a good shchita midraisa or midrabanan? Very good. Excellent. You hear what Gary's saying? Midraisa, this is not an avela anymore. But midrabanan, midraisa it's not an avela. But Rabbanan said that it's a treifa. In other words, there's no tumah here. Tumah you're not going to have because midraisa 50% is 51%. But Rabbanan said don't eat it. So it's a treifa. Says the Gemara. Why the Rabbanan Geyser Dimle Yosel Mebe Palga? Just two more lines. Omer Rav Katino Tashma Chalokei Lishnayim Beim Shavim. We're talking about an oven that's tamei and it's made out of klei cheres. What's the halacha when you have something tamei that's cheres? Break it into pieces. This guy doesn't want to break it. He comes up with a great idea. He's going to chop it in half. That will be considered a break, and he'll have most of his pieces broken. And I'll put it back together. Now, if you say 50% is 51%, so if he does it exactly at 50%, he broke most of it.
Most of it twice.
Exactly. That's what the Gemara says all the way at the end. That you can't break something, most of it. You can't have, now you have 102%. If you add 51 and 51, you have 102%. Doesn't work. Shneim Tmeim, both parts are Tomei, Lefishi Efshel Tzamtzem. There's a concept in the Torah you can't be exact. Tosfos points out that from our sugi you see that you could be exact if a human being does it. If a human says I'm going to shecht 50% of a kana, I could get to 50%. It's only because when it happens automatically. But if you could be mitzamtzem, it's mashma, it would be tar those two pieces. Why the tar? Maybe the 50% that you broke is the tummy part. So you can't do roiv twice in one object. You can do roiv in one kana and say that 50% is 51%, but you can't take two 50% and say they're both considered 51%, because then you'll have 102%. Have a great day.
Having seen how fatty and disgusting the column bacon all things are, I can't imagine somebody saying, exactly 50%.
How do you get the